All right. Well, that's the end of games we've been playing this week. Let's get into gaming news. Game Blitz TM. It needs to be Game Blitz because, whoa, boy, this is a long episode. This is probably going to end up being one of our longer ones, which is, not a bad thing at all. I'm glad that we have so much to talk about this week. But, Derek, let me go ahead and get you to rattle off some of the newsy bits.
All right. So, as you all know, MLB The Show 21 is going to be coming to Xbox. What you didn't know is that it's going to Games Pass, and people are mad. So Sony fans, obviously, the series is known for being a Sony exclusive. Yes. So the fact that Xbox is getting it for free on Game Pass has got people a little heated. Now, here's the thing. Go buy the game if you want the game. If you're a Sony fan. If you like MLB, just buy the game. Sony is not just giving Xbox that game for free. They're paying them to put the game on, which is something that Mike put me on to when I asked how did the developers make money on their PS Plus games or whatever.
Right, yeah. These are copies being sold.
Yeah, right. So it makes sense because they don't know the selling power of MLB on the Xbox. So give it away for free for Game Pass. Win-win. Sony gets money. Xbox gets more Game Pass subscribers. It's all good. Quit bitching at Sony and buy your copy on PS5 or 4 or whatever.
Or get Games Pass and shut up, Just get Games Pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, guys, this is a whole rival thing.
Right.
East Coast, West Coast. I'm not loyal to any business. I'm loyal to whoever gives me a game I want to play, and only for as long as I'm playing that game. And then,
honestly,
what have you done for me lately? That's what I said.
Mm-hmm. if every Sony game was on an Xbox, I would play it on Xbox because their controller is better.
Yeah. No, seriously, if it wasn't for the fact that they have so many good exclusives, I probably would have gotten Xbox too, because Games Pass is actually a really good freaking deal, guys.
But I do have to say, if y'all talking about controllers, that actual PlayStation 5 controller feels way better than the Xbox One right now.
It's nice. I would agree with that. Have you had some hands-on time with the controller for PS5 yet, Derek?
Just once in store. I didn't get to play it. I just held it.
I will say, I've played some PS5s, and Mo's right. You got the adaptive triggers and the haptic and everything. It feels nice. I'll agree with that.
It feels really nice. It's way better than the controllers we have now for the PlayStation 4. And I played the Xbox before. I have a beef with Xbox. It's a long story. But anyway, their controllers, though, are very, very comfortable. I can tell you. I can say that. I can say that without being petty, that their controllers are very comfortable. You can argue that with me.
Right in that hand.
But that PlayStation 5 controller, it's like they took from Xbox and stepped it up 10 times better. And I'm just like, whoa, this is a different controller. What?
Make me stutter.
And one thing I like, and this is really detail that people are catching, is the whole signature, the O, the X, the square, and the triangles are ingrained into the controller, and they're small, and it's making for good gripping on the controller.
Yeah, and I would agree with that
really
too.
Like that.
I don't like that it's white because my gross hands are adding a little bit of grime to it. I actually have to, I can see the dirt, so I clean it off more often than I normally would, which I guess is a good thing, but I'm still I'll pick it up ugh, and I gotta go get a rag or something.
What is wrong
I believe that they're probably going to come out with more colors.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Colors. All right. Well, speaking of PlayStation, what we got for Plus going on this week?
Yeah, so PS Plus games for April. PS4 is getting Days Gone and Zombie Army 4 Dead
Zombie
War.
Zombie.
Zombie yada
yada yada yada yada.
Zombie yada. And PS5, right? PS5 is getting Oddworld Soulstorm for free, which is cool because this will be a new release for the PS5, so that's dope.
Yeah.
So I know Mike's gonna check that out, and I'll check it out in 2 years when I get a PS5.
I know, right? Oh my God, they're almost impossible to get.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, they are impossible to get.
How did you get yours, Mo?
I don't have mine.
Okay. I thought you had it because you were talking about the controller.
No, I can only get the controller.
Oh, okay. I got mine
about
from
all that is available.
I got mine directly from Sony. Do you remember when they were offering to have people request to be signed up for pre-orders through them?
I was one of them. I actually was one of them people that got on the PR list for the PlayStation 5. And I was like, oh my God, yes, thank you, Sony. PR person in here, I'm in here, right?
Yeah.
A little did I know how ruthless the other PR people would be.
Oh.
So I'm in there because we still have to, just like everybody else, we still had to go into the line to get your PlayStation 5, but they only had a certain limit amount of free ones. But what I didn't know is that some people were actually going ahead and saying, hey, I just want to go ahead and pay for mine and get it over and done with. I mean, I'm just saying, in any good business, you're not going to turn down some money. So I was in the line waiting, and I think I came in a little too late. And so while everyone's waiting to get their package, by the time I got up there, there was like, at this time, we are currently out of the system. If you,
Yikes.
if you was a person that did not get the code, unfortunately, we're sorry, we reached our limit on how many we can give to PR.
Nah, that's too bad.
So now you gotta basically fight in there with everybody else.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, okay, well, cool. They gave you already an extra email. Will say, okay, hey, you're in the PlayStation Direct. Sorry, we basically couldn't get you into the PR. And so you get PlayStation Direct, and then you had to stand in line basically again like everyone else, but this time everyone's there. And I was standing in line. I was in there, had my PlayStation 5 already, put it in the cart. As soon as I was getting ready to click buy, it said sold out. Sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
What? Why? And so this literally has happened to me consecutively. Like when they had the Walmart one, sold out in my face. PlayStation in the cart.
Yeah.
Target, sold out in my face. PlayStation in the cart. Then PlayStation Direct again, sold out in my face in the cart.
Wow.
Sold out in my face. In the
Yeah, week over
Yes.
week, it's becoming increasingly apparent to me just how lucky I am. Like, I'm so glad I answered that email from Sony. Because people were scoffing at it, and I kind of was too. I'm like, oh, really, Sony? You're going to allow me a chance to possibly pre-order directly from you? Oh, thank you for the privilege. However, I did it, and it ended up being like the smartest decision.
And now I thank them for the privilege.
Yeah, thanks for the privilege, Sony.
The way scalpers are scalping out here, it's insane.
Yeah, I don't support the
Insane.
death penalty, but there's a special place for scalpers. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So, speaking of insane prices for video games, on Friday, we actually heard of a record-breaking auction at Heritage Auctions in Dallas. A sealed copy of a Nintendo Super Mario Bros. Game, graded as a pristine copy by the video game grading company Wata, sold for 660,000 ducats.
Ooh, baby.
The amount of bread you have to drop on a game you ain't gonna play.
Right.
You know what I
You
mean?
can keep that as a souvenir.
That's not even an investment
put this,
at that point.
to put this in perspective, the highest sale price for a video game ever publicly reported prior to this was only $156,000, which is still dumb. But this like annihilated that record. This is why I keep looking at this collection thinking if I move, this is going to be a bitch. Because, you know, like Derrick had mentioned, you know, I'm still a collector. I have like over 2,000 pieces of physical media and growing. And I'm like, maybe I should get rid of it. But then I read stories like this and I'm like, nah, man, we about to make bank when I'm older. So we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Then again, it could all crash and people could not care anymore. It could go completely. Who knows? Anyways.
I
Also-
feel like what you're doing is awesome because there's gonna be somebody that comes into your area and they're gonna be like, "Wow, this is amazing!" And can I buy this?
Yeah, I mean, and if anything, I can pass it along to Ben, so hopefully he can have a appreciation. I mean, there's a certain amount of preservation, I guess, or, you know, digital. I mean, we're going to talk about it here in a second. You know, digital is not guaranteed to stick around forever, so having that physical media, it does mean something. And if there's a way I can back it up eventually safely, a lot of these, because there's some things I can't back up via ROMs and some things I can't yet, I'll probably go for that as well. But yeah. So speaking of preservation, oh my goodness, this week Mario was killed, as many of you know.
He died.
He died.
Oh my
Moited.
God.
Mario 35, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the original Fire Emblem NES translation, all of that pulled from digital. No more prints, physical prints, I should say, of Game & Watch, and the physical edition of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. That's gone. Now, there's still a lot out there in the wild,
Yes, it's very plentiful.
but if you are thinking about getting it and you haven't yet, get your ass out there and grab a copy, because eventually they are going to get all bought up. And there are people already putting up, you know, Super Mario 3D All-Stars for insane prices if you want to go on to eBay and search that and have a laugh. I hate that they're doing this, especially with the digital content. Obviously, the justification from Nintendo is artificial scarcity drives sales. And it's true Because I don't know if I would have bought Super Mario 3D All-Stars as quickly as I did, or Fire Emblem NES for that matter. It might have just stayed in my wish list cart for a while if it wasn't for the fact that I know that they were going to pull it and I didn't want to miss out. So, game, check, match, Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. And
isn't it getting sad, though, that you're starting to see, like, speaking of that and just also, like, the PlayStation stores dying and stuff, isn't it just kind of... Doesn't it make you feel a little sad that you're starting to see this kind of just dwindle down?
Yeah, it's the end of an era. I still think it's going to hang on a little bit longer than people think. I think there's going to be some pushback here and there. We're going to start to see the cracks show. Just by virtue of the fact that stuff is being removed, people are going to be like, hey, maybe I should go for physical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, to your point, we reported on the rumors last week that PlayStation was going to close the stores for PS3, PSP, and Vita online, and that was confirmed to be official this week. On July the 2nd, the online store for PS3 and PSP, and right now it's only online through the console, like you have to actually go through the console to buy the games. You can only do that up until July the 2nd, and then they're going to close it down. And then for the Vita store is actually going to close down on August 27th. I'll kind of explain, because we had some questions last week. I know I was going to update on this. What does this mean for stuff you already own and stuff that you can get in the future and all that? So you will still be able to re-download and play previously purchased games. You'll still be able to access previously purchased video and media content, if that's your thing. You'll be able to redeem PlayStation Plus vouchers if you want. You'll still be able to re-download and play any claimed game title through PlayStation Plus as long as you remain a member of the service. Now, PlayStation licenses get a little wonky, so definitely make sure that any game you have the license for that you download at least once, even if you're not going to keep it, then you can delete it. Because I've heard of situations before where you get the license, but you didn't download it right away, and then somehow you lost the license when a store closes down. So just keep that in mind, people. Things that you will no longer have access to, and this is the part we're definitely losing. You will no longer be able to purchase PS3, PS Vita, and PSP digital content that includes games and video content. You can no longer make any in-game purchases, so no DLC, no microtransactions, any of that through any of those games. You can no longer redeem PlayStation Network wallet fund vouchers like gift cards on those devices. And any money you have in your wallet will remain, but obviously you can only use it to purchase PS4 or PS5 products.
Well, does this also mean, because I didn't catch up with one of my journalists to ask them that's on the PlayStation side yet, but does this also mean, like, is this just for the United States, or is this, like, also Japan as well? Because I know Japan still sells, like, their old stuff, like old game consoles and stuff like that. So is Japan still going to be selling their own? Because if so, they're probably going to bump that price up really high.
I believe it's shutting down for Japan too, only because a lot of the outlets that I've been looking at for recommendations for preservation have been talking about the Japanese stores as well. Mm-hmm. But I did only read the English version of the Sony website release and the features, and it did not delineate between regions. So that's actually a really good point. If you have access to a PlayStation Network account for Japan, you might want to look into whether or not you're under the same deadline. I would say likely that you probably are, because it doesn't really make sense to shut down in one particular region when you're doing it on a permanent basis. But again, they could be staggering it, and it's something that definitely should probably be looked into. So good point.
At this current time, I'm just trying to get a PSP because I really miss them, and they still have them on Amazon right now, and it's selling from Japan. So I'm just like, oh, let me get them. But they're still pretty pricey. They're still like they're actually almost close to like $500 still.
Wow. Yeah, that is pricey. Interesting. All right. Well, I want to ask you guys something, along these lines. I can think of a few games I think people should definitely try to grab if they still have their Vita or their PlayStation 3. But I wanted to ask you two, can you think of any games that you would recommend for our listeners that if they don't have the license for already, they should try to go out and grab before it's gone for good?
For me, I was a big PSP player. I loved it. Again, I love handheld games. And if you have a PSP still, I would definitely recommend getting Ridge Racer. It is a very old school kind of game, but great racing game. Beautiful landscapes for it. And if you're just a person that loves racing in general, and you like great music too, definitely that's the game. Like I just recommend that game so much. A lot of times I show people the music from here, so it gets them pretty interested. So definitely just go check out Ridge Racer.
Cool. What about you, Derek?
Dope. I would recommend, especially if you're a big fan of PS1, checking out that PS1 Classic section.
Yeah.
Because most of those games are $10 or less, and a lot of them are $6. So it'd be $5.99 for, like, let's say, The Misadventures of Tron Bonne, which is a Mega Man Legends spinoff, and the physical version of that game is, I think, $200 to $300.
Yeah.
So after the store shuts down, if you want to play that game, you're gonna have to drop quite a bit of cash on it. So I'd say check out the PS1 Classic selection. They've got almost every single PS1 RPG on there, fighting games.
Alundra is a good one to check out.
Platformers, Alundra, all the Crash Bandicoots. Like, just get on there and spend $100 or $200 or whatever on all those RPGs, man, because it'll be worth it for you.
Turn your PS3 into a retro RPG machine.
When you say Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. All right, well, I would recommend, if you're a Ratchet and Clank fan, Ratchet Deadlocked HD can only be found on PlayStation Network. And there are other games, I think Into the Nexus may be one of them, or Quest for Booty. I think those might...
Quest for Booty is digital only.
Digital only? Okay. And then Into the
But
Nexus...
you can get a PAL version of it.
Okay.
Disc.
The Ratchet and Clank Future series, grab those because those are going to start to go up in price, probably the HD collection. And then PlayStation Network Pain. If you guys remember that, that's where you use a human catapult to fling somebody at a bunch of destructive environments. Get that. Tokyo Jungle, where you play as a Pomeranian in post-apocalyptic Japan, and you go around trying to fight other animals for dominance.
And dinosaurs.
And you can play as dinosaurs, you can play as a deer, you can play as herbivores and omnivores. Like, it's really silly, and it's very arcadey. Siren, Blood Curse, really good horror game. A lot of people from Team Silent worked on that. Definitely check that out.
Really good horror game.
Yes. House of the Dead 3 and 4. I'm pretty sure, unless you got like a MAME emulator, you can only get those on PlayStation. So I would definitely grab those if you have PlayStation Move controllers and you're into light gun games. That'd be my recommendation. And I'm going to put a link in the description of our episode that you can find either on YouTube or, of course, at our hub at Anchor. It is a Reddit link. Somebody actually put together a list of all the games on the PlayStation Network, and they divided them by games that are exclusive, multi-platform, specific to a particular generation, like, say, ones that only came out on GameCube or Xbox and PS2. And they also split them up by those that are highly well-received and well-reviewed, and ones that were not so well-reviewed. So you have an idea of, like, which target area you want to go for as far as the games that you want to pick up for your own personal library.
Oh, man, y'all remember a lot more games than I did. I'm old.
I've been thinking about this all week. I mean, because we had that heads up last week, and all I could think about is, oh, my God, what do I want to pick up? You know what I mean?
No, this is including also, like, PlayStation 2, correct?
Any of the PlayStation 2 classics that haven't been HD remade for PS4. For example, Grandia 3 is one I would grab, because right now, and along with Ratchet Deadlocked, you can only get the re-release on PS3. It doesn't have a PlayStation 4 equivalent, like, say, Rogue Galaxy, I think, does. Or Manhunt, something like that. Those are on PS4, so you're okay. So yeah, and again, this Reddit list, I think, should be able to delineate between those titles to help you out. But definitely go to like Derek said, go to that classics section. You're going to find a lot of good stuff in there for pretty cheap, especially when you compare it to the physical prices. And Derek, unlike other resellers, is not going to try to price gouge you or charge you an arm and a leg, but he's got a family to feed. So if you think he's going to charge you $6.99 for a PlayStation 1 physical disc, you're out your mind. You need to go ahead and try to get the digital content or buy it for a reasonable price from him later if you want. So just
still got to get my money.
Got to get that money.